A man wakes in a hotel bathtub, suffering from what seems to be amnesia. In a suitcase, he finds a postcard from Shell Beach. He receives a call from a mystery man, who urges him to flee the hotel from a group of men called the Strangers. John discovers the corpse of a murdered woman. He flees the scene, just as the Strangers arrive at the room. The hotel receptionist wakes up and calls him Mr. Murdoch. He tells him to retrieve his wallet from the automat, which he left there at an earlier date. His wife, Emma Murdoch, sings at a local club. A waitress tells her that a psychiatrist named Daniel Schreiber, who claims to be his husband's doctor, wants to speak with her. At Schreiber's office, he claims that John Murdoch is his patient and is suffering from a psychotic break because of Emma's infidelity. He urges Emma to contact him in case John contacts her. Inspector Bumstead arrives at the hotel and talks to the receptionist, who is now a completely different person. He proceeds to investigate the crime scene in the room where John Murdoch stayed. Meanwhile, John goes to the automat. He was greeted by a hooker named May outside. After retrieving his wallet, May saves her from the police officers. Emma goes to Inspector Bumstead to report that her husband is missing. Bumstead tells her that her husband is a suspect in the murder of 6 different women. May takes John to her place. While there, John checks his wallet and sees a photo of his wife who he doesn't recognize. He also sees his ID and learns that his name is John Murdoch, along with his address. He sees May's daughter and immediately leaves, fearing he might unknowingly harm them. John is confronted by the Strangers and he unconsciously uses his telekinetic powers again to defeat them. A severed head of one stranger reveals a strange creature coming out of its vessel. Mr. Book, their leader, tells them that they need to possess Murdoch in order to learn more about him and orders them to capture John. Bumstead takes Emma home where she sees John at the table. John explains that he found the keys inside his pocket and assumes that he lives there. Emma hands him Schreiber's business card and tells him to see the doctor. As John leaves, they were ambushed by Bumstead. He runs into a dead end but a door magically appears and he escapes. Bumstead is left confused as he picks up Schreiber's card left by John. John goes to Schreiber's office. After Bumstead left, John tails Schreiber. Bumstead visits former Detective Walensky, who previously handled the murder case of the women. He seems unstable and keeps drawing twirl patterns around the room. Walensky states that he tried to get out of the city but ended up riding in circles as there was no way out. John sees Schreiber enter a door that leads to the Strangers' hideout. Schreiber creates memories here by combining collective memories in a test tube. As the clock strikes 12, all the people in the city suddenly fall asleep. The Strangers start changing the city's surroundings, creating new buildings and replacing the old ones. They start injecting memories into the citizens. The Goodwins, who were a poor family just moments ago, now becomes rich, as assigned by the Strangers. As Schreiber walks outside, he is confronted by John. Dr. Schreiber explains that John has the same ability as the Strangers, who can manipulate things through their minds, which they refer to as tuning. He offers to help John but the Strangers arrive before he can respond. The people of the city finally wake up. Mr. Book orders Schreiber to inject Mr. Hand with John's memories in order for them to find him. John reads the back of the postcard and sees the name Carl Harris, and decides to track him. At the subway, John meets Walensky, who tells him that there is no way out of the city. He adds that the Strangers are coming for him but he already figured a way out, and then throws himself into the speeding train. John meets his uncle Carl, who shows him old photographs of him and his family. John notices a photo where he has a scar that he supposedly got from their burning house. He shows Carl his arm and it doesn't have a scar, proving that the memory is fake. The clock strikes 12 and people sleep once again. John sees the Strangers coming and they begin chasing him. People begin to wake up and Bumstead and Emma save John from the Strangers. At the police station, Bumstead begins to interrogate John. John asks him if he knows Shell Beach and if he knows how to get there. Bumstead says he knows Shell Beach but can't seem to remember how to get there. John asks him if he remembers the last time he did something during the day recently, and he cannot come up with a single memory. Emma tells John that she is sorry for her infidelity, and John tells her it's okay because it didn't actually happen. He breaks the glass and kisses her. Bumstead helps John escape. John goes to Schreiber to get some answers. Schreiber points a gun at John and tells him that everything he needs to know is in the syringe and he must take it now. Bumstead arrives and takes Schreiber's gun away, and John takes the syringe for safekeeping. They order him to take them to Shell Beach. On their way there, Schreiber tells them that the strangers abducted humans to do experiments on them in search of the human soul. They believe that the human soul will save them from extinction. They mix and match memories between people and study the results. He says that John is special because he resisted Schreiber's attempt to imprint him and has developed the ability to tune. He adds that the strangers cannot stand the sunlight, that's why it's always dark in the city. The strangers also forced Schreiber to delete his other memories, only keeping his skills as a scientist, as they needed him for imprinting memories. They arrive at the edge of the city and see that Shell Beach only exists as a billboard. Frustrated, Murdoch and Bumstead tears through the wall, revealing a hole into deep space. The men are confronted by the strangers, including Mr. Hand, who holds Emma hostage. In the ensuing fight, Bumstead falls through the hole into space, revealing the city as an enormous space habitat surrounded by a force field. The strangers bring Murdoch to their hideout beneath the city and force Dr. Schreiber to imprint Murdoch with their collective memory. Schreiber gets the syringe in John's pocket and injects him with it, inserting memories in Murdoch that train his tuning abilities. Murdoch awakens, fully realizing his abilities, and battles with the strangers, defeating the leader Mr. Book in a battle high above the city. Utilizing his newfound powers, Murdoch begins reshaping the city, flooding the area surrounding the city with water, forming mountains and beaches, and returning the sun, creating the actual Shell Beach. Murdoch opens the door leading out of the city, and steps into the sunlight for the first time. Beyond him is a dock, where he finds Emma, now with new memories and a new identity as Anna, with no memories of Murdoch. They reintroduce and walk to Shell Beach, beginning their relationship anew.